escape us unless they mute us. I noticed one of our guests is here from the Chinese community. Hello, Chong. Nice to see you. And okay, so let's kick it off. I mean, the quick introduction of me is that I'm the guy who, with my co-founder, created the Tuda meta nest, and our whole environment that you're sitting in right now is kind of an immersive introduction to the metaverse. We call it the Web3 first step into the metaverse for a lot of people. We've created this environment just to try to capture people's imaginations, and that's enough about me. Marie is here with us, and she is the founder or co-founder of D-Center, which is based out of the Ukraine. She's currently operating out of France, and for lots of good reasons. And I think you've been there a few years, but you certainly would be there now if anything else. And that's a lot of the topic that we want to talk about today, which is, because we're not here to talk about the projects. We're here to talk about crypto in Ukraine, because it's fascinating to me, the strength that it's being able to provide from a worldwide sources to be able to help and assist, fortunately in a regulatory friendly environment already. And we've got a few items to talk with. So first of all, let's start with the crypto friendly country part, and your views and opinions of we won't talk about the politics of the war part, because we could spend hours on that as well. So let's just focus on the crypto, and I'll jump in here and there and ask some questions, but I really want to hear from you. So please go ahead.
Thank you, Daniel. Just a quick correction: we're operating out of France, not Ukraine.
Okay.
But I am Ukrainian and French too. And this is since the war began. I love crypto I have been loving crypto for many years already. That's why I created the center, which has its main goal to spread the good knowledge about crypto and educate people. And when the war started in Ukraine, crypto showed how important it is once again, and on a very concrete example. That's why the whole topic of crypto in Ukraine is very important for me, and for Ukraine too, I guess. And Ukraine is right now in a very good dynamic, meaning that there's a country with a massive amount of IT brains, and there's a country which knows the value of independent currency, because they know how flawed fiat currencies can be.
Personal experience.
Yes, like any person who saw the whole, USSR crumble, and of course the fiat crumble, and then as every person who saw worthless money and so on and so on. So lots of IT brain, good understanding of fiat flows. It makes a really nice environment for the development of crypto, and that's actually what happens. And Ukraine is kind of famous for having introduced very comprehensive laws on crypto. And when the war started, these laws, they really came in handy, because before the war officially broke, there were already NGOs helping Ukrainian military to continue the war in Donbass, because the war is there since 2014, not in the whole Ukraine, but in the region of Donbass. And some of these NGOs were already accepting crypto. Not much, mostly one very famous Comeback Live, but it was an isolated case. No one else accepted it. When the war started, Ukraine's Minister of Digital Transformation, who actually is, I think, a very talented guy, he has set up official crypto wallets for the country, meaning that these the money coming to these wallets will be used by the country to fund the military, to help people, etc., etc. And this is first in the world, first situation in the world when the country sets up an official crypto wallet. And it is very, very important because it could allow all these other crypto projects thrive. Because the main problem with charities is trust. You never know if the money that you're sending somewhere, they will be used to the cause you want to fund. And that's why very many charities, including charities that operate in Ukraine, are now kind of scrutinized, and some of them, like the Red Cross, are really frowned upon.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say,
Yes.
we've been reading about the Red Cross. I mean, I've known about this for a lot of years, how too many things get funneled out and everything. There's just, a charity may not be corrupt, but the people trying to control it and manage it are. And when it's in crypto, it's the same reason criminals are stopping to use it, because you can trace it, you can track it, you can know it's not going where it's meant to be. So with Come Back Alive, taking the donations as they had originally done, following up with the official government approval and the official wallet, that this is what they're doing, right? We are able to see that our Bitcoin or our Ethereum or our $10 actually goes where it's meant to go, and you see what's happening in that wallet. Yeah.
Because very many people donate to Red Cross, and I think you can donate to Red Cross saying that this is for Ukraine, but everyone saw like pictures of the Red Cross head speaking with the Russian Minister of Foreign Affairs and even proposing to set up camp in Russia, which is a complete nonsense and a big offense actually to all the Ukrainians, because you cannot set camp in the country of people who are killing you
in enemy territory. See, if you go back, if you go back even before crypto, right? My years living in the UK, on the streets in London, you had everywhere you had these people with these clipboards looking for charity, and they want you to give them $10 a month, right, and sign up. And the reality is, it's like 18 months of payments before anything actually got to those charities, right? Before any of that money that I would donate for $10 or £10 a month would have gotten to them. So crypto is fixing that problem for you and in Ukraine, and it's also subsequently going to be the example, a shining example for all of the other countries that are working that way, and hopefully highlight these imperfections like Red Cross.
Yes, and then crypto goes straight to the point without any bank involved, a financial institution involved, without borders, and it goes there fast. The deputy Minister of Digital Transformation, he spoke recently online on the conference, on a Bitcoin conference in Miami, and he underlined how fast and efficient crypto was, and how more efficient the country also becomes in using these Bitcoins and Ethers and other crypto which are pouring in. It means that the part of them, they are being exchanged into fiat money to pay for, I don't know, medical supply, manufacturers, and so on. But there are a part of them who are being paid as is, which means that more and more people who fabricate, who produce the necessary supplies, they accept crypto. So it's a kind of virtuous circle in there. And most importantly, but for me, I think it's most importantly that there are so many talented people right now all over the world who are not indifferent and who decide to create fabulous projects to engage their audience, to engage artists, or to do art themselves, and to direct money to Ukraine. And this, thanks to the blockchain, can be very, very easily verified, because there are so many NFTs, DAOs, and similar projects right now, which mention the official addresses in the smart contract code, which means that this is a completely trustless environment. And if you're buying an NFT of one of these projects, you are sure that your money goes to Ukraine.
Goes directly to where it is.
You can go to Etherscan and check it. This is really easy. And that's
Well, I mean, so far,
enormous advantage of crypto.
So far, I know we're approaching 150 million US dollars worth of crypto that has come there. I know there's several NFT projects. We want to mention a couple, which is like Soul of Ukraine and Holy Water. And I know there's several others. I saw another one just popped up yesterday on LinkedIn that was talking about it. You talk about the tech skills that are in the Ukraine. I mean, I can do nothing but agree because my partner and co-founder, Vova, is based in the Ukraine. Some of our devs are there as well. The attitude of the people is phenomenal. I mean, my partner has said to me, he says, these Russians won't kill me. Maybe our project will, but they won't. And they're working. I know they have things that they're doing in the daytime that we don't necessarily talk about, but they're working on the project. They're putting everything into it. One of our partners that we're signing up is a game metaverse P2E type of a business. They're based in the Ukraine. Coincidentally, it's not like we're hunting out Ukrainian projects. It just happens. We've got a partnership with Blockster, which are a startup. They're not, I don't know exactly where they're based, but I know a couple of their key people that I've had conversations with are based also in the Ukraine, and they're working a way to accomplish what they want. Now, their marketing guy is at a conference in Miami, so I know he's not based in Ukraine because the men are staying in the country. But it's phenomenal, this type of outpouring. I mean, the DAOs like Unchain and Aid for Ukraine, I think there's a Ukraine DAO as well. I mean, doing exactly what you just said, right? They publish the address, so nobody can spoof this. If so many times we see with charities, it's especially an American thing that I've seen, but I'm sure it's everywhere, that people go out and they say they're raising money for something, and they're not. They're just scamming people and taking money for themselves, right? This entire crypto thing stops all of that. If the people who are giving are smart enough to look. Because, I mean, we know the scams still happen in the sector, but the ability to be able to look at the wallet addresses, see who it's connected to from the contract, it's absolutely going to change the way that charity works, because too much charity goes to the people administering, and they do things like you said with the Red Cross working with the Russians, which is just still shocking, weeks later. Yeah, it is. But these projects that are coming in, then you've got people like Vitalik Buterin, who is Canadian, but he's Russian, I believe.
He was born near Moscow.
Yeah,
but he moved to Canada when he was a teenager, I think.
Yes, exactly. But he's got Russian roots, and he's one of the well, if you think of the drinks, there's a black Russian and a white Russian. I think of Vitalik as a white Russian, and these other ones that we know about are not exactly white Russians. Then we've got people like Gavin Wood. We've got other charities that are taking care of and funneling money again the same way. It's absolutely amazing. And I mean, there's a lot of celebrities out there that are always trying to hook themselves onto causes for their own benefit, which, as long as the money goes to the people they're trying to benefit, I don't care if they get headlines. And again, crypto is protecting the people who need the money by making sure the money gets to them. Question that I have, though, is how are they moving this crypto into actual transactions to buy food, to buy supplies, to buy fuel, to buy food?
Well,
are they buying and capable of paying that with crypto also?
There's a part they are able to pay with crypto, and there's a part they change into fiat. They are partnering, actually, I think it's the government now, but there are also a couple of charities which are partnering with FTX I think FTX levies the fees, so it allows to very easily transfer crypto into fiat.
Yeah, because some of the people that want to help can't. If they're not crypto enabled, even if the government makes it easy. So if the government is providing a bridge, so to speak, not a technical bridge, but a logistical bridge, that's amazing. And if you've got FTX supporting you as well, this is just super, and I can't imagine why people like CZ from Binance and these other guys aren't doing it as well, other than he's got his Chinese connections that have a slightly
See,
skewed approach, maybe.
see that Binance is doing another thing. They are actually, there's a fundraising on the Binance website right now, which raises funds for a humanitarian charity. Not the Red Cross, I think, but not the Ukrainian government neither. But they do raise funds, and CZ did donate money to. So let's not be too harsh on him.
Oh no, I wasn't at all. I mean, he's actually in the crypto space, one of the best and the greatest. I just know that he has so many political pressures from different sides and regulatory issues in America, and he's still working with the Chinese government to try to fix their views on crypto. He's from a lobbying perspective, not from a cooperative perspective, not working for them.
I didn't know that.
But well, it's like Jack Ma, right? I mean, he has his feet tied in that country, so they always have to watch their step. And I mean, the Chinese are essentially neutral, which isn't perfect, but it's better than it could be. And I don't mean to do any disservice to CZ at all, because I mean, I didn't know what you just said, and I'm glad that you told me that they're doing some fundraising as well. I just know he has a tightrope to walk.
Yeah, there's actually lots of people in space who have been who have started initiatives. There's an EXO, if you know, the lender. They raise funds. There's actually speaking about Gavin Wood and his very big donation. He tweeted the Minister of Digital Transformation, the Ukrainian minister, that he will donate $5 million if they set up an official Polkadot wallet. So they did it, and so that's how Gavin would donate it. And there's quite a few projects which FTX they are giving, I think, $25 on the account of every Ukrainian who registers.
Brilliant.
Just from the top of my head, but people are doing lots of things, I think, all over the world. This is really great.
I mean, some of those have this connected business angle where it has some benefit for them, which we can accept, because as long as the good is happening, right? But when we take a look at the crypto space, there are so many people that have made so much silly money that they can't really even spend it outside of the crypto space, because then they get tagged for taxation. But something like this, if somebody wants to slap $1 million or $100 million into it, he can do that tax-free. He can do that anonymously if he wants to, and he can support and fund all of the good things that need to get done, because they don't have the places to spend their money. So I think this type of a charitable donation is ideal for these people. I mean, you can't buy a Lamborghini without showing the government that you've earned money, and then you pay tax.
And paying taxes.
But you can pay $1 million or $100 million into the crypto space for charity, anonymous from government sources, and still do some great good. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yes, and when thinking about big donation, actually, there's the Ukraine DAO, which is a DAO which was formed really quickly after the war started, and it was formed. One of the organizers is the girl from Pussy Riot.
Oh, really?
Russian, yes. It's Nadia Tarakonnikova, who lives in the US now, I think. So she and a couple of people from the crypto space, they launched the DAO, and the DAO's goal, they made a very simple NFT of the flag, of the Ukrainian flag, and they auctioned it off for $6.7 million. So to support your what you just said about big donations, anonymous, without showing taxes and things like this is a great example. Someone spent almost $7 million helping Ukraine. So of course this NFT address, the money went to Ukraine directly, and so the good deed was done.
I mean, it's kind of amazing. I mean, let's step away from the crypto side, and because just crypto is enabled by technology, and that's my background, is nothing but technology, and the fact that this is the only way for the relatively few elements of Russian society who are interested in finding out the truth, right? To hear from people like one of the Pussy Riot girls, a couple of the other celebrities that are out there that get followed on Twitter and these other things, and the people that can't get at them their normal way using VPNs, and that there are ways and seeds of getting information into the normal people rather than hearing the view from the psychotic dictator that runs that country. So it's pretty strong.
Oh. Ah. No, I think we've heard David now, but not Daniel. Oh, I think Daniel is restarting. No, still can't hear you. Can't hear you.
So you should be able to hear me.
Ah, yes. Now
okay. At least my headphone must have run out of battery. I'm sorry about that, everybody. The little crowd that we have. So what I was actually, I'll just kind of repeat part of what I was saying is the community. I don't know where exactly I disappeared. I was talking about how technology has actually we can actually somehow educate the people back in Russia about the reality of what's going on through VPNs and the like, and that's going to happen in a longer cycle than the crypto immediacy has been able to do, because it'll take time. When you start to watch the Formula One races and you see your favorite Russian driver isn't there anymore, and their company name isn't on the car anymore, and they're going to start to ask questions and understand, and over time they're going to stop believing the lies. But the tech will help with that, I think. But that's got to be a critical element of what we need to accomplish to have these the sway of public opinion. Not that it really matters when you have a psychotic, insane dictator in charge, but ultimately somebody is going to start to make a bit of a difference, and the economic sanctions against them, as opposed to the economic benefits to you, are they taking advantage of crypto? Is there anybody out there helping them in that way? Because I mean, clearly they're not really up for the job that they thought they were. They're sending in children to fight and to act worse than children. So are we risking the benefits that the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian government are getting from crypto? Or is any of that actually doing good for the bad guys too?
Well, that's a topic that many European politicians try to use right now, saying that Russia will use crypto to evade the sanctions. Some of the American ones too. And quite curiously, all these politicians are like long-standing anti-crypto politicians, and there was so many research in space, very serious research done by some serious people, like, I don't know, like the ex-CIA director, the firms like Chainalysis, and many firms out there saying that blockchain is good for criminals, because avoiding sanction is a crime too. And why is it bad? Because it is transparent. And so even if you're pseudonymous, if the government with enough means wants to find you, there's a big chance they will find you. That's how they found the Bitfinex hackers. Well, maybe not the hackers, at least those who laundered the money from Bitfinex hack. How much was it? It's like 4 billion. It's an insanely huge amount of money. And they have used, this couple, they have used all tricks in the bag. They used tumblers, they used mixers, they did chain hopping, you know, when you switch from Bitcoin to Monero, then to, I don't know, Ethereum and back on. They did everything. Their job was to launder this money. Well, they're in jail now.
Have they been able to track that through places like Monero as well? Because
yes.
to me, Monero is worse than Silk Road, and it's worse than the dark web of crypto. So those are the businesses that actually give us all a bad name and need to be shut down, because they're purely made for criminals. They're avoiding taxes by doing smart things is one thing. Evading taxes is criminal.
Of course.
And it's like I've done a lot of work in Nigeria, and we're going to touch on that because you and I have conversed already about crypto in Nigeria as a complete diametric opposite to crypto in Ukraine. And what we see in the country like that is, like every other country, there's massive corruption, right? But when David Cameron of the UK, I think it was calling Nigeria a corrupt country, when the UK is one of the largest money laundering bases between themselves and the Channel Islands and the British Virgin Islands. To have the UK calling themselves as a home for crypto and DeFi is a bit of a joke, because if you compare the UK, the only country worse for cameras and security than the UK is China. And I mean, that's got to be saying something. And they always had this attitude of, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, why should you mind? Well, because we don't want to live in a police state. And that was it always made me uncomfortable. I mean, I lived in London for 12 years, and I hated the fact that there was, the only thing that was good was they never spent the money on technology to have clear images of everything, and they didn't have the facial recognition that is there today. So when we look at Nigeria and bunch of other countries, and I'm not trying to peg out Nigeria on the bad side. I'm trying to talk about it from the perspective of how taking a central bank cryptocurrency is no better than fiat, because they're just going to print and mint as much as they want, the same way that the US dollar continues to mint it. I mean, if you watch that, the arch of the supply of the US dollar is ridiculous. And people say, oh, you know, it's a trusted dollar, and people believe in it instead of believing in crypto. Like you said a minute ago, all of the people taking political strength out of this argument against crypto in this current situation, as you were just mentioning with Russia, potentially benefiting it, they're only doing it to carry forward their own agendas, which is an anti-crypto thing, which is because they are the banking and traditional finance sector. I spent years in London mentoring fintechs, and it was the exact same thing. People didn't want fintechs. Why? Because they were going to make less money, and fintechs were going to deliver things more. A Nigerian business I've worked with for years, and I'm on the board, a huge element of what they want to do and what other companies down there are doing is bringing the unbanked in with standard banking. You could send money to your mother by giving her a code using Bold Pay, and she could go to an ATM and take money out even though she didn't have a bank account, because they wouldn't let her have one. You know, crypto is doing the same thing. Meanwhile, you have the corruption, because you had all these Bitcoin ATMs in the UK, which were illegal because they were unregulated, and they've all been shut down, and they're all trying to get licensed again. So how do we balance all of this stuff, right? I mean, this is the part going forward. Do we just wait for these old dinosaurs to die for it to happen, or how do we leverage it and let them learn the lessons that the Ukrainian government has learned, and that the Ukrainian people have learned? I mean, I'm in Germany, and crypto is a property. So if I hold crypto for a year, I can go ahead and bring it out without paying taxes on it. It's a different type of asset. Yet Germany is part of the EU, who are creating a roadblock for DeFi, and DeFi is absolutely the way forward. So there's too many opposing viewpoints and confusion. So we're just moving our business to Switzerland in the next 6 months. And that's one answer, to go to a place where you're out of those grips. But we need those people to be educated and do it better instead of serving the bankers. How is that going to happen?
No disruptive technology came smoothly. It's like there's a very popular, meme, comic actually, from the beginning of the 20th century about electricity killing people because it is dangerous. You don't know how to control it. What's wrong with the oil lamps? Come on.
No houses burned down with those, of course.
Yeah. Then the same with cars, which are noisy, slow. The horse is much better. And then every technology has, every major technology has this part of people who really don't like it. And we could see it with the internet also. They're not in France, actually. It was a very interesting story because the French, they had this kind of video technology called Minitel.
Yeah.
And they really believed in it, and it was made in France. So when the whole world started, going into the internet, and said, no, it will not work, we will do our own, and they tried to stifle it. They did not encourage any innovation, etc. And we all know where the biggest internet companies of the world are, not in France. So that's the same thing which is happening right now with crypto, because there's, at least in Europe, there are so many people who don't want this to happen. And so they have the lobby, they have politicians who may use the lobbyist fine, or who can, paint themselves as a criminality fighters, so money laundering fighters, and try to, do the very simple, stupid thing is to block crypto or to to create so many obstacles that crypto won't be able to survive. That's what's happening already in the European Union, and I actually followed a couple of members of the European Parliament to see why did they vote for this. It's so stupid. Come on, don't do the industry, which may be tomorrow's internet, and which will be tomorrow's internet. And well, I think they do it quite sincerely, and as there are not many opponents in the society to these regulations, because most people do perceive crypto as gambling tool, criminal tool, and things like this. So they can stifle the innovation, paint themselves as a nice guys, and well, if tomorrow all European crypto companies go to Switzerland, to the US, or
well, not the US, for sure.
Yes, they can go to Miami, to Texas, to the New York City, to Colorado, to Wyoming, and they will be really,
well. However,
and will be perceived in there.
So sorry to jump on that, though. You got to remember, there's a weirdness in America. It's like Binance US is not Binance anywhere else, right? You've got all of these states. You've got all of these states where cannabis is legal, right? However, none of them are allowed to be banked, because banking is a federal thing, and there's no federal allowance, because at the federal level, the state level, it's still illegal. So the banks aren't allowed to support them, right? So there's I was talking with a company.
It is curious.
It's weird, right? I was talking with a company just yesterday, and they're going to join us as a partner potentially using our cryptocurrency, because he's in a play to earn space with NFTs, and he can't let them play to earn because he can't do what he needs to do in the state that he's in with crypto. And right now he's got the NFT stuff started, and he's ahead of the curve because they haven't regulated that yet. But all of these regulations are going to be retrofit, right? Even something like Ripple is being chased after by the SEC, when it is far and above the least offensive of so many things that are there. Right. And meanwhile, they let something like Coinbase list on the public stock exchange. They let something like Robinhood, where people get tied into these pump and dump things to do it. So, I don't think America is going to be new either. I know our German finance minister and
morphing. America is morphing. It's the country, they have a really, really, good incentives, to keep the federal grip on everything, and also to keep the dollar as the universal reserve currency and means of exchange. But in the same time, they're very entrepreneurial and they know business. And if you see, it was like a war not so long ago between the federal government, like the Treasury, the SEC, and the Fed, of course, and the states or cities like Wyoming, Miami, Colorado, and so on. But now, there was like 2-3, maybe a month ago, President Biden has signed an executive order with the 5 points, I think. And of course, one point was, okay, let's mitigate the risks. Let's see, like everything, there's no anti-money laundering. And there was another point saying that we need to, we need to ensure the U.S. Superiority in crypto tech. So they start to understand that this is important. So, and I do not think that Americans will kill crypto with too much regulation, even if it's super tricky indeed.
Yeah. But it's still a bit of a thick place compared to other places, whether it's...
Dubai is better, Switzerland is better, indeed.
Dubai, Switzerland, Mauritius is getting there, Estonia. Estonia has done too many self-serving things to make it too difficult. We had a couple of businesses registered there, but now you need to have...
But they're European, so they will follow the European lead, which is...
But a year ago, they made it difficult because they suddenly made it profitable for themselves. Right? Like if you register a business in the Cayman Islands, the only rule that you have is you need to go there for your annual meetings because they want the tourism money. Estonia, it's a local director and local offices and all of these other expenses that the businesses that were there had to leave. Right, so these types of changes get a little bit difficult. So I can see both sides of that. And I mean, America has got to be the smarter one of a bunch of them, and certainly right now they look smarter than the EU. But
oh yes, oh yes.
The part that kills me about all of this is the press that we see and the press that these politicians are pushing out is it's all false. Not to be a Trump quoter and calling it fake news that way, but this stuff really is. I mean, take the environmental. If you look at YouTube and LinkedIn alone, or YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, or you take the current fiat system of printing, transporting, burning, and reprinting actual money. You take
gold. It's a disaster. The real gold. It's a disaster. They're polluting rivers. They're killing trees. It's like there's the gold mining industry, which is like 5 times more uses 5 times more energy than the crypto mining energy. And this energy is not green because more than half of Bitcoin's energy is green. And then they release all the nasty chemicals onto the nature, and no one says them anything. And crypto is it's like a scapegoat. Like
it gets blamed for everything. But these people are saying NFTs are destroying the environment. Well, but it's okay for OpenSea to take MasterCard and Visa. And I mean, I've got tables. I've looked at this stuff. I used to argue with this and I gave it up. But MasterCard and Visa are like 90 times the environmental impact than all of crypto combined, including NFTs. And yet OpenSea is being lauded for, oh, you're bringing it to everybody by using credit cards. Well, you're bringing it to everybody using credit cards. You're doing it with ETH, which is one of the dirtiest and not doing such a good job connecting things. We're with Polygon and Binance, and Polygon is unbelievably green. Binance is not bad in comparison to the others, and CZ is working really hard to make that even better, especially on the DeFi side. So all of this information, the amount of money laundering through crypto compared to everything else is like 0.5% of all of the other things that are being done. Yet you're right, it's being scapegoated. And I know Decenter, part of what you guys do, part of what our other partner Blockster do, you're trying to get information out to people that's reality. And there's a bunch of other organizations as well, but that's a big part of what you're trying to educate with Decenter, aren't you? To spread the right news, to become a source where people can get proper information?
That's exactly what we do. And we've spent so much time speaking to people, trying to tell them the truth about, trying to fight the FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that are so popular right now, like the environmental FUD, the criminal activity FUD, the there's no value behind Bitcoin FUD, and things like this. And that is why we write every day the analysis of the crypto news, and always trying to show crypto from the perspective of the social good that it can do. Okay, meaning that it's not actually important how many dollars you should pay to buy 1 Bitcoin. It's not important how it fluctuates. We really don't like, speculation and stuff, and we think that the big the huge importance of crypto is the personal freedom that it gives to people that no other technology in the world can give. The crypto is the only technology in the world that allows you to bypass the middleman, to bypass this trusted third party. And lots of people don't get it, and that's why we actually started the website to bring it to people and to bypass all this speculation, area, all this speculation image that crypto unjustly has. And by doing this, we also fight we also tell people about the environment, we tell people about the economy, because many grown-up, intelligent professionally successful people actually don't know basic things about economy, like what's back in the dollar, what's back in the euro, and there are lots of economists, when they're speaking on the TV or in the newspapers, they make it sound so complicated that an average person just loses the meaning. While
they still think the U.S. dollar is backed by gold. Sorry to interrupt. I mean, they don't know the reality of what they don't know, and
it's backed by nothing, and euro is backed by nothing.
Exactly.
And that's the reason you are the Federal Reserve. You push a button, you create $1 trillion. It's not backed by anything.
But if we put it into even simpler things, like you mentioned gold. Okay, so gold has a value, and I mean, it's got a consistency because of demand. But the examples I always use are diamonds and oil, right? Oil is controlled by a few countries that get together and decide how much it costs. Any other place in the world, we call this a monopoly, and we don't allow it. But even worse are diamonds, right? De Beers, with an almost exclusive international monopoly for so many years, with warehouses full of diamonds that are worth a couple of bucks each, that they're selling for thousands of dollars, right? You buy a diamond for a price, you don't get to buy it back. I was approached about 2 years ago by somebody who wanted to use diamond-backed crypto. I worked with a company. We were looking at creating ourselves a different approach to a gold-backed crypto, because it was going to be connected with gold mines. Right, we're going to have fair trade gold mines as partners, and it was going to be actually technically backed to that, which has a actual world standard value. But diamonds for crypto, it's a joke, because I mean, these are worthless things other than in the mind and eyes of people, and the little bit of gold on their finger maybe that's holding it. So that stuff is there, but people believe in that and they pay that. Yeah. And the diamond analogy, the diamond analogy I wanted to carry with that, because you said a minute ago, well, crypto's not worth anything. Well, either as a diamond or either as a piece of art on the wall, it's only worth what somebody wants to pay for. And
that's what I wanted to say, yes, that it's like beauty, value is like beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder. If I believe then this is valuable for me, and you believe this is valuable for you, so it's valuable for two of us, we can use it as money or whatever. So basically, Bitcoin value is the value that people assign to it. And technically, it is a much better store of value than any other thing invented by humans, because it is scarce, because it's secure, because you can send it to any person on the planet in a matter of minutes, because any person on the planet can have access to it. Like, there's nothing which is as fabulous as crypto from this, personal freedom and standpoint. And as to value, we as humans assign it to crypto. So yeah, that's why we're speaking a lot about economy on this center and in our publications, because very many people, they tend to miss this point. What is value? And they're like, okay, the government tells me that euro has value, so it should have value. But no, you as yourself can decide that another thing is valuable too, and hundreds of millions of Bitcoin users have decided the same. So if everyone decides it's that's like money.
The NFT argument, when people say, well, how can it be valuable if I can right-click save it? Well, I can right-click save a picture of the Mona Lisa, right? Yes, there's an artist, some British artist that I won't bother mentioning the name. He has this NFT collection that's out there, and there's a switch between the physical and the digital, and you get one or the other type of an approach, right? But this is where it messes up the art perspective, because they're this big, right? They're like A4 size, and in the group where on Discord where people are talking about it, you've got these people printing it out because it's high-res digital, like millions of pixels. They're printing it out like 6 times the size. And this would give any artist a nightmare, because if you create something like this, it's meant to be like that, right? So that control is gone. And yeah, I can right click and save an ape. I can use it as an avatar in places where they aren't preventing me. Like Twitter is one of the few that's actually trying to make that legitimate. But I can take anybody's Bored Ape and have it on my profile on LinkedIn or Twitter. LinkedIn actually got rid of my profile picture that I was using of one of our Tuda birds because they said it wasn't a proper vision of me, right? So I created one with my head on top. Other people have created ones with themselves, the two beside each other in the picture, and it's silliness from that point of view. But the ownership versus right-click save is the cachet. Now, Bored Apes, as an example, is a horrible, hideous example of a bunch of money grubbing, laundering, cash washing, scammy type of stuff with a contract that you can look at and see that anytime they want, they can push a button and make more apes. Right, so
okay, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Trust me, you can find out, and it should be on Decenter as well. So the scarcity is false. Now they may not do that, but they can.
Okay. Right.
So you don't have that safety and security that you want. They did a smart move, which is exactly what we've been planning on in our minds since last autumn, and we finally announced that around the same time as they did that if you buy one of our NFTs, you own the copyright. So one of our Chinese community moderators was asking me, can I get the rights? I love these birds. I want to create some T-shirts and dolls and sell them into the Chinese market. And I said, you can do that with an NFT that you own, or we can do that with the project-owned NFTs. But if you do that with somebody else's, you're breaking the rules because they have the copyright to it. And there's a...
Well, it depends. Normally the apes have the copyright to them.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's the good thing that they did. Yeah. And they bought CryptoPunks right away. They made because that Yuga that owns Bored Apes bought CryptoPunks as an entity, yes. Which is a bizarre thing to do when they're American-based and they aren't doxed owners and so on. And everything they've done now with their cryptocurrency is a different business. It's a DAO, so it's separate, and it's. To me, it's more than a little bit shady, the way that they've done stuff. But they've got the momentum and they've got the press, right? So now you're going to be able to buy Starbucks coffee with a Bored Ape coin. You're going to be able to, Adidas have partnered with them in the metaverse for creating like shoes and 3-stripe shirts for avatars and so on. And some of these companies are going to start to realize that they partnered with the wrong people, maybe, and withdraw because they have reputations and brands to protect, right? There's a guy created the Bored Hamburger House or something like that, and the ape that he owns is on the napkins and on the cups and stuff because he owns the copyright. But if you did that with another, and you can do that with a bird. If you buy one of our birds, you can do the same thing. So giving the ownership to the owner makes ultimate sense. But some of the other stuff that these guys are doing is, let alone that contract element, is to me a little bit frustrating. If we take a look at a couple of the NFT exchanges, you're talking about 90+% of the traffic that has gone through it has been one wallet buying another NFT from, or buying an NFT from another wallet, both owned by the same people, and pumping up.
Yeah, that's boosting the price. They did a lot with punks, actually.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've had advice from 4 different people, literally, that I used to think I thought were good business people and trustable business and ethical people, and they said, "Oh, Daniel, it's easy for Tuda Birds to sell out the NFTs. You know, we've got bots. You've got a great technical team. Create bots, fill up a bunch of wallets, buy them really fast. People will see it trending, and they'll go and chase after it." And I mean, I say it's a scam, and they say it's marketing. And it's not marketing. I mean, yes, it works as marketing, but it is nothing but a scam, and it's ripping off users. So I know, again, Decenter is trying to bring this knowledge out to people. We have to get more of that there. We have to hook you up, I think, with this other partner of ours they're delivering crypto news. You know, you're delivering crypto reality. And I think the two together could get a stronger reach. They're in our nest. Right, we're going to create a presence for you folks at Decenter here as well, with a mechanism for a news feed of some sort that we can do it in little windows and the like. But I want that type of stuff to be available to our users. I want people to start to be able to, if we can educate the small percentage that are in crypto now, then we'll be able to have them spread the news and educate the other sector. So
that's how it goes.
We're getting close to the hour now, and there's one more topic I wanted to make sure that we talked about on your list, because I don't want to, I mean, I could talk with you about this stuff all night, but we can't necessarily keep the audience tied up that long. But part of it's the crypto future for Ukraine, which to me is an easy one. It's a shining example of how companies and countries and people will be using it, right? You're not unique. There are a few other places like this, and it's not the way that they're doing it in Brazil or Venezuela. It's not going to be the Chinese central bank currency. It's not going to be the Nigerian naira, but everything that you folks are doing, and there's never been a talk of a Ukrainian state crypto either, from what I've heard. So that's good.
That's very good. I think Ukraine right now that they have lots of crypto people, lots of crypto projects. Now that they saw the real value of crypto in this war for these donations, you cannot backpedal from this. So and together with the already existing legal framework, it can become a really, really good place to develop crypto projects. Not only to just outsource the Ukrainian IT brain, but to go there and to create projects in there. And especially now when European Union is doing silly things, regulation-wise, and Ukraine is not in the European Union, and probably, it will stay like this for some time. That's a great opportunity to develop crypto business there.
Well, the outsourcing part about using the brain power elsewhere is a big part of it, right? Like when I first met Vova, we were working on another project in different spaces, and then his team, this is 2 years back, were creating a central exchange for this American company, which turned out to be some scam guy trying to use crypto to scam more people with PPE, with all of taking literally advantage of COVID. And one day I did a search on something about him, and I found 6 different lawsuits against him. So Vova and I talked, and we both separated that. Okay. The other, one of our advisors on this project we spoke to last night in one of these panels was also on that project, and we all exited it, and the project died. But Vova and his team, they made 8, 10, 12 different projects, staking mechanisms, farms, things that we're using in our own project now with our own yield farm opening up in the next week or so. All of this stuff was gone out to other places, right? And all of these guys, they were making money. They were making a little bit of money, but they were making like $1 to help somebody make $100. So we decided, let's make the $100 ourselves. Let's build our center of excellency around your team in the Ukraine from the perspective of that ability. Let's find the right regulatory environment to get ourselves registered in, because we're DeFi Wild West, right? And it's harder to get investment money as we are right now because of that nature. You've got to have a few minds that are a little bit more visionary, and they're hard to get hold of and to do it right with them, but they're there and we're getting closer. So all of that stuff, creating a business there where we can have all of those people actually taking the wealth for themselves. Yes. And the $1 million there instead of the $1 million elsewhere makes a big difference from that perspective, and the talent's there, so why shouldn't it be? It's like the West taking the talents out of India and doing it from an outsourcing perspective. Yeah. And lately I've heard this argument. I've seen some of my friends in Nigeria on LinkedIn are upset because people are saying, well, I want you to do this work for less than we would pay in the West because it's cheaper there. But there's values and levels of this that need to be mediated, right? Because this is why India became a unbelievable 4 massive multi-billion-dollar companies, and then a 5th one that I worked for that was just behind them, because they were doing things at a cheaper level because they could. And as long as you're not exploiting workers and you're giving them the proper standards of living from the work that they would have someplace else, but COVID flipped things around for employers who said, well, now you're working at home, so you save time commuting and you don't spend money on fuel. So, and you're living in a different state with different taxes, so we'll pay you less, right? So all of this stuff, right?
What employees should answer is this: yes, but we have 7% inflation. So
they don't care about that because they never did before, right? So let's make as our last topic here. What I want to talk about is I want to hear a little bit about, because I don't know anything at all myself, so our audience probably doesn't either. You mentioned in a note to me about Beyond Donations and the NFT Museum of War. Tell us a little bit about that as our closing topic, if you would, please.
Okay, well, that could be a nice closing topic, because it shows not only the importance of crypto as a good means of payment, fast, borderless, straight to the point, and trustless, but also it shows something. It shows how blockchain's immutability can actually influence our culture and our society, because one of the reasons the war is happening right now in Ukraine is because Russians have been fed false history for at least 2 decades. 2 decades when Putin was in power. So a whole new generation of people, they grew to believe that Ukraine doesn't exist, that Ukrainian people do not exist as a nation, that the history is false, and so on.
Your history is older and deeper than Russia. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yes. Kiev was there when Moscow was a forest, but that's not how Russians are being taught history. Okay, and it's very easy, to tweak it. You change you write your own books, you have your own websites, and with a bit of propaganda here and there, there's a whole generation of people who grow to believe that this country right behind you, it's not another country, it's just a territory. Okay, and they don't. And the speech Putin gave 2 days before the war, it was this kind of speech, like, you're not the country, you don't have history, we are gonna to de-Ukrainize you. And me, as a person who studied Ukrainian history in school, when I hear this kind of things, it's atrocious. And Ukraine has been fighting. It's a country with more than a millennia history, and it has been fighting Russia for centuries and centuries. Okay, and why am I telling this? Because the recent incentive launched by Ukrainian Ministry of Digital Transformation, it's the NFT Museum of War. It's a website, it's a platform where for every day of the war, there's an artwork, and for every important event of the war, there's an artwork with the corresponding screenshot of a tweet. For example, the 24th February, Russians started to shell Ukrainian cities, and you have an artist who created an artwork especially for this NFT. You have a small tweet from normally it's from officials or from celebrities, and this is minted as an NFT. And people can buy it and store it in their wallets. It's stored on the blockchain. And it's not a book. It's not a website. You cannot tweak it. So that's a way to record history as it goes, as an NFT.
Adjust your laptop a little bit, because we're getting some flare from the sun and we're losing you.
Oh, sorry.
No, a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Perfect.
That's better. Yes. So not only the profit from these NFTs goes to the official Ukrainian wallet, it's also a way to record history. It's the first of a kind NFT archive, NFT history archive, and it is recording such important event as war. And there's many talented artists who create specific pictures or animations for every such event. And it has been very popular, so people are buying this, and they're not expensive. It's like 0.08 ethers, I think, or something. They're not really expensive, so everyone can have a bit of history, help Ukraine, and help record what's really happening, so that history will not be changed once again to a profit of some dictator 100 years from now.
Well, we thought
that's very
that
important.
Was going to happen again. I mean, that's phenomenal. It's cool, but I want to make sure you're aware that you're not alone in this issue, this problem. Now, it's become a completely different space with what has happened to you and the way that it's occurred. But I'll use America as an example again. Is they don't know a lot about what goes on outside of their border. They aren't taught it. As a Canadian, I learned American history. I learned Canadian history. I learned European history. I learned all kinds of stuff. So we were far more exposed. But the analogy I want to give you and why I think this makes, again, another groundbreaking, pioneering element of what is going to follow based on what's happening because of all of this in the Ukraine, like some of the good that we can wring out of it, maybe for the rest of the world for historic reasons and everything else, is that we were in France on a holiday about 20 years ago. My German brother-in-law has American-born and the Canadian-born children, and they spent most of their lives growing up in school in America. We were in France. We were sitting out in a cafe on the street, and next, a few tables down, a guy was smoking, which is definitely a French thing, right, in Paris. Less so today, but back then, no rules of any form. And my niece was complaining to me that, why is he smoking? He shouldn't be allowed to smoke and blah, blah, blah. And I said, it's a free country. And she looked at me and she said, no, America's the free country.
Oh.
America's the free country.
The free, yes.
With a Canadian mother and a German father, indoctrinated from an American educational system, right? An American educational system that also doesn't even teach their own history properly, right? That trying to stop schools from teaching things to the children about slavery, to understand the background of the black people in America and why they're angry and why they have a right to be angry. So I'm only saying that to let you know that you're not alone. Right, and that's not the only country. I mean, African countries are amazing for teaching the history. Right, I was listening to this. I don't want to do him a misservice by saying the wrong name, but I think he was from Kenya, and I think he was speaking at the UN, and he was addressing that insane man in the country next to you indirectly by saying, we are here and we are created by all of those other countries who decided where our borders are incorrectly. And we have our brothers on the other side of the border and their brothers and sisters on our side of the border. And we don't like it, but we're living with it. And he says, I've got people in my country who want to take back that piece of the land in the name of our country. And he says the only acceptable way to do this is to cooperate with that country and remove the borders. There's no room for war. There's nothing but peace is necessary. They are still your brothers. And if you try to take it by force, you'll then be fighting your brothers, which we know is happening in your situation right now.
I think the term brothers has gone forever. Sorry for that.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm talking actual brothers. Right. And
I do have. Me personally, I do have my grandparents and an uncle in Russia, but it's as I don't.
Yeah, and I mean, I was talking with a Ukrainian some time ago whose mother's brother is living in Russia. And they tried to talk with him, and they realized their family is ended, right?
Yes, it is ended.
You know, there's no way that this is going to continue. There's no way they have any interest in ever talking to this person again, right? And I mean, I've got two brothers. One of them's normal, and one of them's not. And I don't know much about the one who's not. and it's not for any of these types of reasons and levels at all, but these things can happen. And the only reason I'm mentioning him is because you can continue to live with somebody who's excluded, and there's no connection of blood like people say that there is, right? It's all made up. But the whole point I was trying to make, though, is that it's gone south in every way, shape, and form for the country of Ukraine because of that fool next door. Mm-hmm. But the circumstances that you're describing, that history, this has got to be done in a lot of other places. This is the way that the Black culture in America can educate people. This is the way that the Africans can remind themselves of where their borders are and why this is a long way and a wrong way to do it. So I think as detrimental as it is in every way, shape, and form to your country, there will be good that comes out of it for the world, because of A, how you guys have handled yourselves, B, how you've fought back unbelievably and admirably, and C, because all of these initiatives apply to so many other places, and they're going to see, well, we can do that, and you guys, the Ukrainian people, have made that happen, and that is going to be a legacy that comes from this of good. So there's nothing else of good that we can say about the situation, but we know looking forward that there has to be some value from that for the rest of the world. So I think we all need to be more grateful to Ukraine than we ever could be. We all need to be more aware of that value, and in doing that, maybe it even raises the further awareness of where the Ukrainian people need help. So I'm not trying to say there's anything good out of it. I'm just saying that we can extract good going forward because of everything that we've talked about today. So that's my view anyway. I don't know. I know you're closer, of course, in every way, and it's harder for you to pull back and see that satellite picture of it right now because you're at the tree level and the grass level, and I get that. But if you think forward, everything that we've talked about today is only going to have value and benefit for the rest of the world tomorrow. So we need to have gratitude and awareness of that, I believe.
Of course, it's as with new industries, it's as with the allies fighting the Nazi, it's as with Ukraine fighting the Russians. Like every tragic event, if we have proper means of information, of transferring information and storing information, all these kind of events, we can really draw conclusions from and to not to repeat them.
I want to make a quick point on that one. When you say the Allies fighting the Nazis, well, part of the Allies were those assholes to the east of you, and they were nothing like the rest of our side, right?
Well,
they were monsters then.
They were on the other side because they had to. If you know, in the 38, the USSR, in 1938, USSR, they made a peace treaty with Hitler. And in this peace treaty even had some like hidden points, like USSR will chop a bit of Poland and other ugly things like this. The only thing, USSR went into the war because Hitler decided to attack it. Otherwise, if Hitler didn't attack USSR, they would just sit there quietly.
Well,
so don't.
Sorry, carry it forward too. Like, look at the same time in Chamberlain and the guys in the UK who did the same stuff. The US, who stayed out of it completely until they got attacked by a German ally, and rained down terror eventually, and ended up helping eventually. But yeah, I mean, this was a set of circumstances, and the thing that I like most about right now is that there is pretty much nobody on their side. There are people that have stayed neutral for political reasons, and countries like India should be ashamed of themselves. Countries like China they're actually more neutral than you would have expected, but they still should be ashamed of themselves. But nobody is on his side, and that is the most unusual thing that's ever happened in history. I think that the entire world now, all we need to do now is anything and everything that country is involved in, they need to be expelled. right? Having a seat on the Security Council in the UN is a joke. Being in the UN is a joke. Anything and everything. I mean, forget the part about the generations and never-ending animosity and hatred from your country to theirs. It should be the rest of the world should basically do like the old religions used to do, turn their back on somebody and shun them in every single way, shape, and form. I'm ashamed that Germany has the dependence from the earlier government on that country for their fuels. I don't even say the country's name anymore. I'm disgusted by the UK politicians standing up and saying all the things that they want to do against them the same day that a big tanker landed in Essex full of their diesel, right? So, but these countries made those mistakes, and you can't just turn it off instantly because they would all be dropped into a recession. So they're doing what they can, I think. And if they follow through on their promises, they will do more, but they have to do more. And this country needs to be cut off from the entire world and just put Trump's Mexican wall around them and let them...
That would cost a lot. They're so big.
Let them pay for it, just like Trump said the Mexicans were going to do, you know, because those walls he has built. And that country, I mean, I have businesses come to me on LinkedIn or on Telegram that are trying to sell services into my group, and my response to them is, you got to be kidding. You know, like there's just no way I will do business in any way, shape, or form. Even if my partner wasn't living in the Ukraine and some of our team weren't there, it's just no way, right? It's like what you said to me the other day when I talked about how we were going to use the term barbecue instead of burning for our non-fungible birds when they got evolved. Right? Well, I changed our tweet that went out with Polygon Studios yesterday, and it doesn't talk about barbecued or burnt anymore. It's simply an evolution. No, because you gave me...
In the name of vegans, I thank you.
Well, no, it's not just in the name of vegans. It's in the name of being nicer as well. Because I mean, frankly, we're in an industry where you have a bunch of people that are just trying to screw people over constantly, right? The amount of people that guarantee you things and rip you off. One of my advisors and the business that I advised got attacked by Chinese shillers, who about 100 of them, and they probably weren't even from China. They were just probably disguising themselves. They were sending porn into his group and all kinds of stuff, and trying to blackmail him to give them money. Now, he had engaged with them and he wanted to stop and he couldn't, right? So we've got that everywhere. So if we could actually get a little bit of society back into people's minds, like, and I'm not trying to be a boomer talking about bringing back the old days, because we never will, but it used to be different. And the only reason it's not different is because people are letting it be not different. You know, we're never going to have the days when I was a kid where you did leave your door unlocked, your front door. We're never going to have that, right? We're always going to have strangenesses that we have. We're always going to have criminals. We're always going to have weasels out there. But if the good people can somehow try to continue to be good and spread good, like Decenter spread proper news, get a company like my other partner working with you and have a significant part of their site echoing what you're supplying them with about the reality of information, as opposed to just marketing, which is a lot of what they do, because that's where a lot of the money is. If we can make that stuff happen, like our project is trying to actually deliver good. Now, we're going to make a buck, but you're going to make a buck too, right? So those are the things that we want to have happen. We want to change society somehow. And I still maintain that everything that is being done in your country using these tools is going to be the way forward for so many other countries as a complete shiny example, like a beacon of what could be. So, you know, let's take it from there.
Yeah, totally.
So I want to thank you. I'm going to tie up because we've gone way over time.
Yeah, but
It's been a brilliant talk. We've had some attendees. We've got a few more on Telegram as we expected. So I'm really glad that we set up this mechanism that we can record it. And I hope Decenter posts this on your website and on your YouTube as well. You're fully free to do that. Let's let people get a little bit of understanding from the real world, from a nice normal person like yourself who can. You talk brilliantly today. You taught me things. I'm sure you taught some of our audience things, and I want to make sure other people have access to this. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Daniel. It was a pleasure.
Great. And everybody who attended with us, I'm looking at the device away from the screen where the Telegram group is going. Everybody who joined us, thank you. I hope you learned something. I hope you listened. And don't forget to look up d.center on the internet and if you want to get some real information. Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.